Hello, hello, we are live, guys. It's been a while. Welcome back to the Dabbling Chef Show. My name is Andrea and I'm your host, and I now have chocolate brown hair, and in honor of that, I am going to be showing you guys how to make the most amazing chocolate mousse recipe that only has 4 ingredients. We're actually going to be making 2 versions of this recipe, and I am wearing pink. It's going to be a pink strawberry white chocolate mousse. Thank you for joining. And also a dark chocolate mousse. So this recipe is in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that's why we're making a pink version. But we're also, thank you for the thumbs up, we're also going to be making a dark chocolate version as well. So let me show you the finished product. I actually combined the two into a gorgeous pie. You could see more pictures on my Instagram at Dabbling Chef. Check out how amazing this looks. Look at that. It is so beautiful, so decadent, so simple to make, and only 4 ingredients. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. What will you need? Hi, Sherry. Great to see you. What will you need to make this pie? I'm going to turn the light down a tiny bit. So you are going to need your chocolate, of course. So I'm going to be using Santa Barbara chocolate, which is one of my favorite brands to work with. I'm going to be using a white chocolate of theirs for the white chocolate mousse and a dark chocolate for the dark chocolate. You could also use a 100% pure cacao for this. That will be a great way to adapt this recipe as well. So you need your chocolate, white chocolate, dark chocolate, and you also need strawberries, a pint of fresh strawberries that I will talk about in a minute, a little secret that I'm going to share about that. For the dark chocolate mousse, we're going to be using some avocado to make it creamy and help bind it all together. For the white chocolate, we're going to be using some cashew butter, and that makes this, seriously guys, taste like ice cream. It almost tastes like ice cream that will never melt. It has that decadence. Oh, it's so good. You guys are going to love this recipe. And then there is a secret veggie ingredient in both of these recipes. Can you guess what it is, Sherry? Can you guess it? If you guys know me, you might know that I have snuck this into a chocolate recipe before, and it is one of the most popular recipes on my blog. It is the double chocolate chip cookies with beets in them. So these are love beets. They are pre-roasted beets. And we are going to be adding just 1. And I promise, zucchini would be a great one though too. But just 1 little pre-roasted beet to the puree that we're making. And I am telling you guys, you do not even taste it. And it's a great way to just pump up the antioxidants in this recipe. And yes, beets, exactly. This cookie recipe is one of the most popular ones on my blog. And it works. It's so delicious, and you will just get that gorgeous pink color to match my shirt. So let's get to it. So first we're gonna make the white chocolate mousse, because if you are making both of these at the same time, you can use the same pan, the same blender. So you're gonna need a high-speed blender for this recipe, a saucepan to melt the chocolate, and depending on the kind of chocolate you're using, I do use my kitchen scale for this recipe. So what I basically do is I put my bowl on here and I zero out the kitchen scale. So I already pre-measured this and measure 12 ounces of white chocolate and 12 ounces of dark chocolate. Beets will make it sweet, exactly. They add a delicious earthiness to the recipe, and also that earthiness pairs really well with the dark chocolate because it already has that kind of bitter cacao coffee earthiness to it as well. So let's hope that our countertop burner works here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to melt, well actually first, you know what? Let's make our puree. First we're gonna make our puree. Beets will make it sweet. Thank you for the hearts, guys. All right, so are the thumbs up. And if you know someone who loves chocolate and a healthy dessert recipe like this that's super simple, make sure to share this video out. So step 1, we're going to make our strawberry beet puree, and that's what's gonna be mixed with our melted chocolate to give it that creaminess. So 1 pint of strawberries, I already washed a pint over here, And here's the crazy tip, guys, for these strawberries. You can blend them, since we're making this into a puree, you can blend them with the leaves on. So no need to use your fancy strawberry huller, which is actually a really great kitchen tool, by the way. But leave the leaves on. Yes, they are completely edible, and they actually have a lot of nutrients in them. They have iron and vitamin C and calcium. So when I'm making smoothies, especially if I'm freezing strawberries, I just freeze them whole like this. And no reason to, especially if you're buying organic as well, no reason to cut off those greens if you're just gonna blend it up anyway. So let's add the whole pint of strawberries, goes into our blender. Leaves and all. Would you guys eat the strawberry leaves? Is that something that you'd be willing to try? If you're putting it into a smoothie, I'm telling you, so delicious. Good tip, right? So the whole pint goes in there because I love recipes that just use all of it at one time. We're making a nice big batch. This will be enough for a crowd. And then we're adding our 1 beet. So this is what the love beet looks like when it's out of the package. It is pre-roasted. It is already peeled and ready to go. I love having these on hand. You can see that I have a frozen package and right here. Only when blending, exactly. I don't think you'd want to eat the leaves straight up necessarily. I haven't tried them in other recipes, but if you're blending it on up anyway, it's totally fine. And they are edible. If you Google, actually you'll see that people have Googled if strawberry leaves are poisonous. They are not poisonous, don't worry. But of course they can collect a lot of dirt and stuff, so you want to make sure that you wash it really well. So we are going to blend, that's it. So just the 1 pint of strawberries and 1 beet goes into our blender, and I'm just going to blend it until it turns into a nice beautiful puree. No need to add any water to this. So let the blender do the work. If you need to stop and start and scrape down the sides, you can do that. I'm gonna let it go until it's blended fine. Look at that gorgeous color already. Look how beautiful this is. We are already, you can tell that when we mix this with our melted white chocolate, it's gonna be a beautiful, beautiful pink color. And this will make about 2 cups of puree. So if you happen to have an allergy to strawberries, you could always use cherries instead. Would be really delicious in this recipe, or even potentially papaya. I haven't tested that, but I think it would work. I think it would be delicious. So we have our puree ready to go. What we're gonna do is leave that in the blender while we melt down our chocolate. So we're gonna start with our white chocolate. I'm gonna turn my burner on and roll up my sleeves. We're melting some chocolate up in here. It's gonna be delicious. So let's get this going. I just have a small saucepan, and typically I would melt chocolate over a double boiler, which means that I would put water in this pan and then a heat-proof bowl like this over top. So this is a great example. And you just melt it down really gently and gradually. But since we're gonna do this really fast and we have our strawberry puree to kind of cool it down, you could do it over medium-low heat directly on your stove. So you could also do it in the microwave. We don't use our microwave as often, so if you do use the microwave, just do it in 30-second increments and keep stopping and stirring as you go so that the chocolate doesn't burn. So it's really important to keep stirring constantly so that you don't get burnt chocolate stuck to the bottom of your pan. So looks like we're okay on the countertop burner so far. So what kind of white chocolate? So this is a white chocolate from Santa Barbara Chocolate. This does have sugar. So if you want an option without the sugar, the dark chocolate mousse is definitely the better option there. But it is a much cleaner variety of chocolate. And as you can see, their dark chocolate, for example, only has 3 ingredients in it, especially the 72% cacao. So I'll talk about in a minute why I love Santa Barbara chocolate, especially because they offer options for 100% pure cacao melting chocolate. And that's something when I was doing Whole30 and you're not supposed to have any sugar at all for 30 days. It's amazing how much you look forward to just a little piece of pure dark chocolate. It might taste really bitter if you're used to the sweeter stuff, but when you have it, if you love coffee, it really has that delicious kind of earthiness, just like a good cup of coffee, and it satisfies your sugar craving. What I love about chocolate actually is it kind of satisfies your sweet and your salty craving at the same time, especially the darker chocolates. So this recipe, the white chocolate is the treat version, you know, everything in moderation. The dark chocolate is the one where you can have all those extra added benefits from the raw cacao bean. So way back when I started on live video, I did a video that was the difference between cocoa and cacao. And there is a big difference between the two. And cacao, the way it's spelled with the A's, I know it sounds funny, but if you could see it here, cacao powder is made from the raw cacao bean. So chocolate is made from a cocoa pod that has beans in it. It's the Dabbling Chef. Leslie, thank you so much for joining us. And Wesley, if you're here, so great to see you too. So we are melting chocolate and we are chatting the difference between cocoa and cacao. And we are also making 2 types of chocolate mousse. One that is pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So look at this, look how beautiful this is. So this is nice and melted down. So you want to stir continuously until no clumps remain. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take just a tiny bit of this strawberry puree that we made. So I turned the heat super low now. So I turned it down to 2, but normally you'd be making this on your stovetop by now. But I'm just gonna add a little bit of this gorgeous strawberry and secret beet puree. Don't mind if I do. Look how beautiful that is. Look at the color. I'm gonna stir that in. And we are smoking a little bit here, so I hope I don't set off any smoke alarms in my house. Because I don't normally cook on a electric burner, obviously. Leslie Nance, it's so good to see you guys. Leslie is an absolute dear friend of mine, and she is a breast cancer survivor, and she is doing some amazing things to support just anyone who is going through cancer treatment, and you guys should definitely check her out. Go to Kitchens if you have not already. She is all about recipes that cancer hates. Cancer hates it when you eat healthy and plant-based foods. So check out Leslie if you haven't. Go to Kitchens. So we mix this all together. I'm going to turn off this burner. Look at that beautiful color already. So what we did there by adding a little bit of that puree to this is we cooled down the chocolate just enough so that now we could add it back to our blender. I'm going to add a tiny bit since the stovetop portable burner here is a little different than your regular stove. I'm adding a tiny bit just to make sure this is cooled down enough. And then I'm going to pour it right back into my blender. So we are going to let the blender do the work for us today to make this recipe super simple. And normally what I would do, if you're making a chocolate mousse, I have a chocolate mousse on my blog where you have to hand whisk the chocolate. No joke. You have to whisk it by hand for about 5 minutes so that the chocolate aerates, and that's what makes it super fluffy. We're not gonna do that today. We're gonna let the blender do the whisking for us. So I added that back in, and I am going to take a little taste and let it blend on high for about 1 minute. So we may cheat this a little bit so you guys don't have to sit here. We'll just do our blender there. Where are you guys tuning in strong that you can hear me. Make sure to post a comment so I can give you a shout out if you're joining me live. Alright. This thing is unpredictable. It is off, but it is still smoking. I'm going to put this aside 1 second. We are almost done. California! Alright, so look at that beautiful pink color. This is such a delicious treat. If you were to eat this now, it would taste like the best milkshake you have ever had in your life. The best strawberry milkshake, seriously. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour it into our serving dish, or what you could do is pour this into individual ramekins. First, we're gonna scrape down the sides to get all that strawberry goodness. So we have the vitamin C from the strawberries, we have the extra antioxidants from that beet, we even have the strawberry leaves in here, remember? So we're getting lots of extra nutrients in our treat. So I'm gonna pour this into this bowl, but what you could also do, like I said, is pour it into individual ramekins to make kind of like a individual mousse dessert for your family. So good. But look how pretty this bowl is. And this will set in the fridge for 2 to 3 hours or overnight. And that's what will get you that thicker consistency that you can see from the pie so that it's actually sliceable. What I did with the pie is I made a super simple pecan crust with just 2 cups of pecans, 3 dates, and 2 tablespoons coconut oil. Seriously, that's it. All of this will be in the recipe, so don't worry, guys. But the pecans, you just give them a whir in a food processor, you press it down into your springform pan, and I made half of this recipe as my base, so the strawberry mousse on the bottom, and then the chocolate mousse we're about to make on top. So you guys ready for one more mousse? How easy was that? I know I'm chatting away, but we're not even gonna clean our blender because we are making the same thing again, except, oh, you know what? I forgot to add the cashew butter. That was my bad. So gorgeous, so gorgeous. Half cup cashew butter in our white chocolate mousse. And for the dark chocolate mousse, we're gonna be using avocado. So we're still doing that beet again. Looks so yummy, right? The cashew butter is kind of the secret to this, to get it to all hold together. So I apologize for that. I'm getting too excited about all my chocolate. So we're gonna make this again for the dark chocolate. Let's back up a second. Let me add the cashew butter so that this can set. So that was the one final ingredient. This is your 3-ingredient mousse, but the 4-ingredient mousse is much better, I promise you that. So let's add our cashew butter and blend this one more time. So it is a half of a cup of cashew butter, and you could really easily make this at home as well. I'm just using a store-bought version that's really clean in terms of ingredients. Literally, the ingredients are raw organic cashews, and that's it. So a half a cup of that goes into our blender. We're just backing up 1 second. Rewind, as my son would say, redo. Backing up 1 second, adding our cashew butter to our strawberry and white chocolate mixture. And that is what's gonna give it that really beautiful added creaminess. Thank you guys for the hearts. So, you know, we're chatting, we're talking about California and white chocolate and cacao and cocoa. I forgot my cashew butter. That's okay, no big deal. We're adding it in right now. I'm gonna blend it all together. Give it one more stir, and then onto the dark chocolate, which is a very similar process, kind of the same way that we did the strawberries. You'll see in just a second. All right, quick blend, and we're done. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, I wish you guys could taste this, because seriously, it tastes like ice cream. It tastes like strawberry ice cream. So let's plate this bad boy back up again. There was a time where I made blueberry zucchini muffins and I forgot to add the blueberries. So, you know, it happens on live video. That's real life right here. Mom of 3 brain kicking in. So, all right, we are going to make the next batch of our chocolate mousse. So we're gonna give these strawberries a rinse. Again, a whole pint of strawberries goes right into the blender. And then we're going to change it up a tiny bit for the dark chocolate version. So the original recipe that this is inspired by is a recipe that I developed when I was taking my recipe development class at Natural Gourmet Institute. And that recipe is on my blog. It's a orange meets avocado mousse pie. So what's great about that recipe is there's orange juice and avocado and dark chocolate. So I wanted to take that and be inspired by it to create this simple mousse. So strawberries, a whole pint of strawberries again goes right into our blender. And the reason I didn't use avocado in the white chocolate version is that the green may actually alter the end result in terms of color. So we want that beautiful bright pink color, which we're getting from the strawberries and the secret beet, remember? So if we added avocado to that, it may have altered the end result, kind of given it a muddled look. But with the dark chocolate, we are using avocado instead of the cashew butter. So super clean, super healthy ingredients. And if you want to go all the way 100% pure cacao with this, they also have that at Santa Barbara Chocolate. So this is a big bag of 100% pure dark chocolate. Literally one ingredient. Organic unsweetened chocolate is the only ingredient in here. And what I love about this is it actually comes in the chips that you can easily melt down to use in your recipes. So it's a big old bag of chocolate, like the size of my head, and I love buying it in bulk like this because you're getting a great deal on it. And then you have it, if you do a lot of baking, especially come holiday time, it's great to have this ready to go in your house so that you can throw it into different recipes. So we're eating the leaves of the strawberry, but not the big stem. I just caught a big stem in here. I don't know if that'll blend down so well, but the leaves, again, are edible and there's tons of great nutrients in there. So if you're blending them down anyway, you might as well just add them in with all the rest of your ingredients. 1 pint of strawberries, 1 beet. We're sneaking that in there. I promise you won't taste it. This passed the kid test. This passed the friends test. It passed the daddy test, the husband test. And the beet really does not stand out in terms of flavor. It's only the one. We stuck one in there for extra nutrients. So we're making that strawberry beet puree once again in our blender. And then we are going to melt down the rest of our chocolate. Here we go. And now we have our 12 ounces of dark chocolate. So how beautiful is this? It's just so delicious. This is 72% cacao that I'm using in this recipe. So if you are going to be eating dark chocolate as part of, every now and then you just need that little bit of a treat, it's good to get about 70% cacao or higher. Or if you're okay with the 100% pure, I personally love the taste, but it is more of an acquired taste because it doesn't have any of the added sugar at all. But we're not adding any sugar at all to this recipe, which is the benefit here. So I'm getting another pan to melt my chocolate down, and hopefully we don't set off any smoke alarms, of course. Beets are healthy and add such a beautiful color to the chocolate mousse. Exactly, Jason. Thank you so much. And this recipe was created in honor of Jason's mom, who is a breast cancer survivor, and Leslie is as well. So it's just been such a joy to work with you guys to create this. And Who doesn't love chocolate, right? So we are melting down our dark chocolate over medium to low heat. Again, you want to keep the heat very low since we are putting this directly on to the heat source. Another option is to do this in a double boiler where you'd basically take a heat-proof bowl just like this and boil some water in the pan and let the chocolate melt down in the bowl. So whatever makes you more comfortable in terms of getting this recipe done. I think for this particular recipe, since we're working with the chocolate really quickly and we're keeping an eye on it, always just keep stirring so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of your pan, because it can burn fairly quickly. So it is melting down. It smells so good. When your mom was a kid, she didn't like chocolate pudding. Isn't that funny? It is for some people an acquired taste. I mean, a lot of times, so I had started talking about the difference between cocoa and cacao, and really a lot of the chocolate that you find in stores is really over-processed and has a lot of added sugars and added ingredients. So when you're working with pure chocolates like this, it is going to have a little bit of bitterness. And that's normal. That's what it's supposed to taste like. And I think the more that you eat dark chocolate and good quality dark chocolate, the more that you appreciate those flavors. It's almost like a good wine or something. You can taste the earthiness and you can taste the quality and that there's depth to it. And I personally love that. So it may not be, the darker chocolates may not be as kid-friendly, for example, but when you're adding the strawberry, the sweetness from the fresh strawberries, that extra kick of earthiness from the beet just pairs so beautifully. It works. I'm telling you guys, it works. And it is such a delicious recipe. So whether you try the strawberry white chocolate version or the dark chocolate version or both and make it into a pie, I don't think you're gonna go wrong with this recipe. Super, super simple. Just don't forget that cashew butter, because, you know, I got talking and I forgot about that. But I will post both of these recipes as well as the pie recipe on my blog, and I will also post it. I'm gonna send it to Jason at Santa Barbara Chocolates so that they can have it on their blog as well. So we are done. Look at that. We melted some beautiful dark chocolate, and we're gonna do the same thing here. I turned off the heat. I'm just gonna add a little bit of this puree to my melted chocolate just to cool it down a bit before I add it back to my blender, because, you know, we don't wanna ruin any blenders in this process. And it also helps to bring the chocolate down to more of a room temperature. So it's so funny about the chocolate pudding. Have you tried, does she like it now? Does she like it now, Sherry? Have you tried making it homemade? All right, I'm gonna add a tiny bit more just to ease the process before we add this back to our blender. And then I'm gonna unplug this countertop burner because it's starting to make me nervous. Clearly, I normally use my gas stove, but it's so much easier on video to have it this way for you guys. All right, so we blended our puree into here. Now I'm gonna add it into my blender. And again, we're gonna let the blender do the whisking for us instead of whisking by hand, because I don't think that would be very fun for you guys to watch me whisk for 5 minutes to make a mousse. But that is the traditional way, and there are some really excellent chocolate mousse recipes where you really just melt down the chocolate and add water, and it's the whisking that creates those air bubbles and creates that fluffy texture that is just to die for. So, all right, here we go. Now we have our strawberries, our beets, our chocolate, and we need one more ingredient, and that is our avocado, my favorite. This is my favorite ingredient in the world. 2 ripe avocados go into the blender. I already pre-seeded them Make sure to always be very careful when you do that. Put a kitchen towel on your hand and just be careful, because I have a friend who got pretty bad trying to take the seed out of an avocado, which is why I'm not gonna do that on live TV for you guys. Oh, I'm so sorry, Sherry. But it's amazing when you're eating avocados. It's absolutely my favorite. So, Sherry, we're talking about chocolate pudding. We're talking about all kinds of things today, and we are making a dark chocolate mousse as well as a white chocolate mousse. Absolutely delicious, and only 4 ingredients in each. So the difference here between the white chocolate mousse is the avocado, which is going to add a very similar creaminess that you would get from the cashew butter. But I like the subtle taste of it, and I also like how it pairs with that dark chocolate, like we were saying, kind of the earthiness of the cacao that you taste a little bit more in the dark chocolate. So here we go again. We're blending one more time. We are almost done. Almost done. Pause this for a second. I'm going to scrape down the sides to get all that delicious puree mixed in. But look at the texture on this. Do you see that? How gorgeous is that? Let's get all that strawberry puree mixed into our chocolate. And this really already has a beautiful thickness from the avocado. It's almost like a pudding already. And then when you let it set in the fridge, so this is again about 2 hours or overnight to set in the fridge, it is just so decadent, and it has that fluffy texture when you eat it, but yet it feels like such an amazing treat, and you won't even know that there's a beet in there, I promise. We give it one more blend. Again, we want a lot of bubbles. We want to aerate the chocolate. There it goes. There it goes. All right, and then we are going to plate this. So again, you can serve this into individual ramekins, or you can make it as part of a pie, or you could just make it in a big old bowl just for me, because I'm not going to share. I'm just kidding, but it is a gorgeous, gorgeous pudding right now, and then once it sets in the fridge, it turns into that fluffy chocolate mousse that you guys are gonna absolutely love. So let me show you the finished product again. Look how good that looks. That's a big bowl of chocolate. So this is definitely enough for a crowd. I would say it serves 4 to 6. You could easily half the recipe. You could even make a smaller portion if you wanted to just make it for 2 people, because it's so simple to make. Let me show you guys the finished product that I turned into a pie. Look at that. And you could see these photos on my Instagram as well at Dabbling Chef. I'm gonna take a bite. Although I kind of want to eat the one before it's set. It's totally edible, but you know, it's worth the wait, I promise you guys. It's so good. The 2 mousses go so beautifully together, which is what gave me the idea to layer them into a pie, and look how beautifully they kind of stack. I didn't originally develop the recipe to be made into a pie like this, but when I was eating them and sharing it with friends, I would give them half the strawberry on one side and half the chocolate mousse on the other, and people were just loving the combination of the 2. It's so good. Santa Barbara Chocolate, thank you so much for joining us. Hey Shiva, great to see you. This is just silky, so delicious, so light and fluffy, and it's just chocolate, strawberries, secret beet in there. There's the avocado in the chocolate mousse and the cashew butter in the white chocolate mousse. So super easy, right? Not too bad. I hope you guys try this recipe. I will post the link for you below this video so that you could check it out. In the meantime, I have another pie to make. Anyone want to come over and help me eat this? Wow, 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 it is so good. And again, this recipe was developed in honor of Jason's mom, who is a breast cancer survivor, and Leslie Nance as well at Go-To Kitchens. This is pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, something that is very dear to my heart as well. I know that probably all of us watching know someone who was affected by breast cancer in some way. So I just want to send my love and support and strength to any families out there. And I am in the Northeast. So just lots of love to you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you to Santa Barbara Chocolates. Let me show you guys one more thing from them that I absolutely love is their cacao. And I talked about this a little bit, but they have a raw cacao powder too that you can get that I use all the time in my smoothies. And that's where you're truly getting all those antioxidants. So when we developed this recipe, we wanted to think about the benefits of dark chocolate, especially pure cacao. It's packed with iron, tons of antioxidants, actually more than goji berries, more than blueberries. So one of the highest plant-based sources of iron if you have an iron deficiency, which is something that I actually struggled with in the past. It's a great thing to add to your smoothies or just have as a snack. You know, everything in moderation. But I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. I hope you try it out. It is absolutely delicious, divine. You can't go wrong with chocolate. Thank you again for joining me live today. Thank you to Santa Barbara Chocolates. Thank you, Jason. Yes, dessert this weekend. Come on over, I'll send some your way. I'm gonna have plenty to spare. You know what, I'm gonna see if it freezes well. We'll test that out. But I will be making another pie out of this. Cacao is awesome, exactly. It can be pricey, but you know what, it's worth it. It's one of those ingredients that it really does make a difference to buy it organic and buy it from a credible source, because then you know that you're getting it, you're getting the best nutrients, the best bang for your buck. And actually when you buy a big bag like this, you're saving in the long run. So that's why I go all in with my chocolate. I don't mess around. I get the big bag and it lasts forever, and it's so good in so many different recipes. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Thank you again for joining me live, and signing off. Again, my name is Andrea. I'm the host of the Dabbling Chef Show, and I will be eating some chocolate mousse pie. I'll see you guys next time.